our work right now on the planet is to bring honoring and sanctity to the invisible just as much as the visible. The invisible results are things like feeling good, things like feeling connected, things like our health, our well-being, a feeling of joy, pleasure.
Embodiment can't be faked. Once you're in an open state where you actually can see through a clear lens, you're not clouded by fear, you're not clouded by the amygdala, you're not clouded by society's news and all the fear-based stuff, and you're just with you. Then you get to decide where you think we actually are.
Energy is information. We're here to experience the full spectrum.
That worthiness is hard for you. There's nothing wrong with you. It is a muscle that we kind of have to learn how to access. You are not disempowered, and you have power in every area of your life all the time.
I believe that chronic illness is an opportunity for us to heal.
Health, it's a choice. Listening to your body if you so choose.
My prayer for the world would be that they would know the infinite love of God.
Aloha and welcome to the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast, formerly known as the Embodied Healing Self Podcast, with your host, jenmons. Join me each week for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around awakening to your soul purpose through 5-element well-being. Thank you so much for joining in. Aloha and welcome back to the Body and Soul Wisdom Podcast. This week's topic is about the belief that success doesn't have to be lonely. So this is for you if you have ever felt alone on your journey to success. And it doesn't matter what it's in. It could be the pursuit of excellence in an athletic performance, such as running a marathon or being a competitive athlete. It could be in the pursuit of financial freedom through your entrepreneurial journey. It could be in your desire for a raise or promotion at work. Today we're going to dive into the path of success, the challenges that come up, the shadows of success, and how to attract supportive people in your life so that you don't feel lonely. The beliefs that you have to have in order to thrive in your personal life and in your work life. Thanks for joining in. Have you ever noticed a time in your life when there was something that you wanted and you were willing to put in the work, the time, the commitment to achieve a goal, and nobody around you understood what you were doing? Maybe you felt unsupported, misunderstood. Have you ever felt like each level of success that you get to, your circle of support gets smaller and smaller? That you're speaking a language to people, and as you're talking, it just goes right over their head. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. Something happens in our human design where when we see somebody else's success, or I should say this can happen, it can trigger or activate the things within us that make us believe that we're not worthy of that success or those results. And that can make it difficult for relationships to continue when competition comes up between two people. Because all of a sudden, rather than being happy for the person who is achieving success, we might notice that all of a sudden we're turning it into what we don't have, which is comparison, which you've heard me say many times on the show is the thief of joy. So why does that happen? Well, I don't know the answer to why that happens, but I do know that you can see that it exists in Mother Nature. You can see animals in the wild who compete for attention, like the birds that do their fancy dances for the female, or the female lionesses who compete for the male lion attention. So it is a natural part of our being because it does ignite our own personal growth and possibility and excellence. So competition can be healthy, depending on where it comes from. If it comes from external validation or the need to prove others wrong or make others less, then it's not a healthy place. When it comes from a place of it ignites an energy and creativity within us and untaps us and opens us up to more possibility, then it comes from a healthy place. So why does success feel lonely? What's underneath that? What is the emotion that comes up? Well, for some of us, we feel guilt or shame, like we're leaving people behind, like we don't deserve this. It can't be this easy. It can't be this amazing. How is it not happening for everybody else? For some of us, it's hard to receive the level of support and even the financial compensation for the success that we create. Not for all of us, but for some of us. The other part to it is that we are change makers, so we keep moving forward. And as we move forward, if you are a visionary, if you're the type of person that knows their goals and has the commitment, makes decisions that create momentum to move you towards that goal, not everybody around you is going to move at the pace that you do, and that's okay. We don't have to make that wrong. We don't even have to label it. It just is what it is. And what we've done is we've made that selfish and wrong, when in fact it's selfless. It's selfish to not live our truth. And we can do both. We can take that action to create the momentum towards our goal. Thoughtfully, intentionally, without judgment to the people around us. We can allow ourselves to receive support from the people around us, which gives a beautiful balance of giving and receiving. And when we get to a place where we take ownership for our decisions, for our commitment, for our intention and our work, and the results come, it's really important to celebrate. It's as important to equally spend the same amount of time and energy celebrating at least as you do when things don't go your way. And here's the thing. What if we chose to believe that there is no failure, there's only clarity? That every time we perceive that we lose or things don't go our way, what's happening is we're stepping into an up level, an upgrade, because now we know what doesn't work. Now we know what we can fix or change in order to do better. Whether it's in competition as an athlete, whether it's in failures and mistakes you make as an entrepreneur or in parenting, all of those opportunities are a moment in time where we get to choose differently. And now we know what doesn't work. We can release the judgment and the shame that it means that we aren't enough or that we're wrong. It's just clarity about what doesn't work. And when we are in this flow of moving forward, celebrating, focusing on the things that work, we can move very quickly. And sometimes people do not stay on that pace with us, and that's okay. We are a reflection of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. If you want to change something in your life, surround yourself with somebody who embodies that change already. Whether it's health or love or money or less stress, more time having fun. If there is something that you want more of in your life, surround yourself with people who are embodying what it is that you want to become. And do it together. Sometimes feeling lonely and successful is a survivor strategy. It's the addiction to busyness that we talked about the last few weeks on the episode. The extreme independence that's a trauma response that we've also talked about on the podcast that has created very, very glamorous survivor strategies and what looks like success on the outside, but feels very lonely on the inside. So there's a difference between being alone and lonely. You can be alone and not feel lonely. Lonely is a feeling that no matter what results you get in your life, no matter who you're surrounded by, you may not feel connected. So when I say success doesn't have to be lonely, it's about asking yourself, why do I have the belief that the more successful I get or the better I do, people don't want to be around me? What does that say about me? What does it say about me if I'm successful or if I get good results or if I don't? What does it say about me when I don't? Because there's a subconscious belief under there that is making you believe that your success means that you have to be alone or you have to be lonely. And I've seen this in some of the women that I've served over the years who've had very successful careers, corporate careers, and haven't stepped into a partnership or marriage yet. And maybe they're in their 40s. I've had quite a few women who I've worked with this on. And it's really about getting down to how do I feel connected? What are the moments that I feel connected in my life? And how do I get more of that into my life? And what are my beliefs about success? What are my beliefs about love? Can they go together? What are my beliefs about being supported, valued, lovable? And when you get underneath those beliefs that are running the story in your life, you will begin to see that your belief is creating your reality. And that's when you can choose to embody something differently by surrounding yourself with people who have the beliefs that you want to have. I know for me, in my life, in my family, I feel very supported, valued, seen, and heard. I feel like we've created that consciously, intentionally in our family, which feels really good. So a lot of this for me shows up in my work, and there have been many times when I have felt unsupported. And I looked deep into it. Why am I feeling this way? A lot of it had to do with just beliefs about my childhood and the way that people would respond when I would do really well at something or didn't respond or didn't care. And just really unpacking the beliefs that showed up around why I felt valued as a high performer in the first place, what support feels like, what not having support feels like. And then just getting really clear on noticing the belief that is running your current life and how you're showing up in relationships that are there to support you. And one of the things that I personally love, of course, I create a space for thriving women to support one another, which is one of the ways that I take action on the fear of success, meaning loneliness, because I have felt that way before. I'm a fast mover. I make changes, I grow, I evolve, and I have done that in my own business. And so I create the space for the women to come and do that together. And I love to do that because I love to uplift and support women on their journey. So that's one of the ways that I've created that. So you can find that sense of community with like-minded women somewhere in your life. ask yourself, where can I find that like-minded sense of community that supports my success and growth in marriage, in work, in my health, in all the ways? Who do I know that is ready to support me in that? And how can I invite more of that into my life? How can I be more open to receiving more of that into my life? And surround yourself with those people. So I leave you with this idea and this belief that success doesn't have to be lonely. You can thrive in your life and in your work when you thrive from the inside out, when you know yourself, when you have clarity on what you want and how you want to show up in your life. You will attract those experiences and people when you take aligned action from a place of trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, not from a place of needing any validation. When you receive, when you allow yourself to be supported, you can have success, whatever that is for you, whether it's the house and the marriage and the family, or a certain amount of income in your job, or a certain role or promotion. I want to invite you to consider how supported you actually are. What is working for you? And the more you find gratitude for the things that are working for you and the ways that you are supported, the more will come into your life that will continue to support you on your journey to thrive in both your life and your business. And I'd love to hear how this is showing up for you. Thank you so much again for joining in this week. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week.
The content of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and inform you of pathways to an embodied healing self. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice from your medical doctor, therapist, registered dietitian, or nutritionist for any questions you may have regarding your diagnosis or condition.
Friends, and thank you so much for joining again each week on the Body and Soul Wisdom podcast, formerly the Embodied Healing Self podcast. I am so deeply honored to share the space with you every week. I know that there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and our community is expanding and growing more with each new episode. I'd like to invite you to come on over to jenmons.com/tribe and receive some of the wonderful gifts that we have for you: a meditation bundle, energetic alignment, 5-element wealth, prosperity consciousness. We have a ton of different gifts available for you to enjoy. Now, we have one small favor to ask. In order for this podcast to get into the hearts and souls of like and light-minded people, we need your support. We would love your review, and would love it if you'd head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review or leave one on iTunes, so that we can continue to share the love beyond out into the world. Thank you so much again for joining in. We'll see you next week.